foreigners respect our culture than we in Nigeria. I'm telling you, there's money on this thing than cool oil they are talking about.
I'm very sorry to say that, unfortunately, we are killing our history by not exposing our children, by not showing them, by not celebrating our history.
A prophet is not appreciated in his own hometown, like they say. We have to do something about it to make us more aware of the beauty of our culture.
A lot of Nigerians don't know that this is the center of Nigeria. Somehow, we need to take what we have and sell it.
A lot of countries run on tourism. Look at Dubai. You go to Dubai and they take you to desert. Then you go and play with sand. I don't understand. While in Yobe here, we have those things. See, Nigeria is losing a lot.
This is a story of Nigeria that is hardly told. It's a celebration of her people, culture, and music. The world calls Nigeria the giant of Africa, but almost 200 million people call her home, thus making her the most populous country in Africa and the 7th most populous nation in the world. Nigeria is also Africa's biggest economy, ranking 1st in Africa in terms of agricultural output and 6th worldwide. Also, Nigeria is the largest producer of oil in Africa and the 11th largest in the world, with over 37.2 billion barrels of oil reserves. But is Nigeria really worth the hype? Can she be regarded as one of the most fascinating countries on the African continent with abundant human and material resources? Our journey to unravel Nigeria's rich culture first takes us to Kano, the 2nd largest city in Nigeria. In pre-colonial times, the Kingdom of Kano was an economic powerhouse. Traders were exporting goods like leather, quilted cotton, and dyed fabrics from Kano to northern African countries via camel caravans and then to Europe. In fact, what is popularly regarded as Moroccan leather were leatherworks by Kano craftsmen exported to Morocco through the Sahara Desert. Hausa at that time was the most widely spoken language in Africa after Swahili. Many centuries later, we've come to see if Kano's economic vibrancy still endures. Our first stop here is the biggest grain market in West Africa, located in Dawanau, Kano State. The first thing that caught our eyes were the bags, hundreds of them. And in the bags are all kinds of grains like white rice, brown rice, white beans, soya beans, maize, millets, and several other crops. And it's said that you can find just any type of food here. Dawanau Market was established 34 years ago, and in that time, they've established a reputation that keeps traders coming back.
Akwai bambance-bambance masu yawa tsakanin wannan kasuwar da sauran kasuwanni. Bambanci na farko shine kowace kasuwa da take kasar Najeriya idan ta siyo kaya ko an je an siyo kaya, ita wannan kasuwar tamu mai albarka ita ce kasuwar da ake kawo wannan kaya, domin ita ce kasuwar da ta kowace kasuwa daukar baki masu sayan kaya. Shi kuma buƙatar ɗan kasuwa shine idan ya siyo kayansa ya samu mai saya ko ya samu gurin da zai sai da kayansa da sauri.
Traders from other African countries and as far as Europe, Asia, and America come here to source for farm crops to be eaten as food or to be used for research. And the trade value of the markets runs into billions of naira every day.
In ka siyo, nan za ka kawo ka samu mai saya cikin kwanciyar hankali, yanzu za a saya, yanzu za a baka kuɗinka. Da wannan kwatanta gaskiya da 'yan kasuwar Dawanau suke yana daga cikin matakin farko da ya kai wannan kasuwar matsayi da take a halin yanzu.
Kano was one of the major powers of sub-Saharan Africa, and not just for economic reasons. Kano has an age-long political history rooted in monarchy. From as far back as the 10th century, Hausa kings had been ruling independent states in Kano, debunking assertions that the people of Nigeria were uncivilized before colonization. To better understand our history, we're about to enter a time capsule to take us many centuries back. Welcome to National Museum Gidan Makama Kano, a place that holds answers to questions of the Kano civilization. In 1442, the 17th king of Kano, King Abdullahi Barja, built this structure as a residential complex for his grandson. When Barja's grandson later became a senior councillor in the king's palace, or Makamang Kano, the house came to be known as Gidan Makama Kano, meaning House of the Senior Councillor.
When the British came in 1903, they conquered Kano and they took over Kano in 1903. And when they took over, having seen the historical significance of this house, it was declared as national monument in 1959. And it was divided into 3 parts. The first part was converted to a museum, declared open to public in 1985. And the second part was given to the Makamang Kano. And the last part of the house, they established an elementary school, now Gidan Makama Girls Junior Secondary School.
Our visit here coincided with the excursion tour of Hannan International College. One of the teachers tells me the students are here because of the need to learn about the history of Nigeria and to better appreciate our identity.
I'm very sorry to say that, unfortunately, we are killing our history by not exposing our children, by not showing them, by not celebrating our history, by not, showcasing what we have. Look at history of 700 years, 800 years, 400 years. Look at this building that's been standing for over half a millennium. And it's still standing and it's magnificent. This is local indigenous technology, indigenous knowledge. So it's something that we really need to revive.
Since Gidan Makama Kano became a museum 59 years ago in 1959, tourists from all over the world come here to see the wonders of ancient Kano, like weapons of war, royal attires for the Durbar festival, musical instruments, and even a vintage experience of what a traditional room in Kano looked like. Northern Nigeria is a thriving cultural center with practices subsisting many centuries on. An example of this is pottery, one of the oldest forms of art. At this pottery market in Kano, traders display an array of rainbow-colored pots that have not just an aesthetic appeal, but also a functional purpose. They are used as vessels to serve dishes or store water. Abdurrahim first mixes clay with sand, rolls it into a ball, glazes it with ash, and then molds it into his desired shape. He learns the art of pottery making from his parents, who learns from his grandparents. From his earnings as a pots maker, he has trained 13 of his children to university level.
Wato kamar wannan sana'a tamu, sana'a ce na gaya ma wata ci gaba sosai, wayannan mutane daga ƙasa suna zuwa su saya, su tafi da shi su ma su yi sana'a su ci riba su sayar ga jama'a. Kai wannan abun har Saudiya ake kai shi. A takaice kenan, nan ba a ta Maiduguri, Gombe, Kaduna, Bauchi, ina ne ga sanan da masaya ko daga ina.
One of the reasons why pottery is so popular in northern Nigeria is that it has a unique cooling feature. Water stored in the pots becomes as cold as though it was refrigerated, making it an ideal choice for storing water in a region that's the hottest in Nigeria. After many days on the road, we arrived Lagos, the city that never sleeps. There are more people in Lagos than there are in Kano, Port Harcourt, Abuja, Aba, and Ibadan combined. It's a whopping 23 million people. Lagos is famous for being fast-paced and its residents regarded as street smart. A popular food here is Giga Bread. For millions of Nigerians, Giga Bread is a quick breakfast, a heavy lunch, and a late dinner. Giga Bread is unique for its soft texture and delicious taste, but it's often unbranded. So we set out to trace the origin of Giga Bread, and we were led to factories in the Agege suburbs of Lagos. At this bakery, bakers work in a fast-paced environment, mixing flour and other ingredients, milling, scaling, molding it into shapes, leaving it to rise, and baking at a specific temperature. When the bread is ready, it's removed from the oven and is ready to be sold and eaten hot.
Giga Bread in terms of quality, superb. In terms of quantity, superb. In terms of price, something, there is no problem.
Giga Bread is a staple food, no bromate added to it. This is just simple and pure.
Gbogbo ayé ló fẹ́ràn bread Agege àtẹwà gan-an. Bread wá dá púpọ̀ torí wípé kò ní bromate nínú.
Bread is not a traditional Nigerian food. So how did it become so popular in the country? Oyeyemi Shitu comes from a family of bread bakers. His father began selling bread made by foreigners who lived in Nigeria as far back as the 1960s, and he has since passed the business to his children and grandchildren. Having been in the business for decades, Shitu was in the perfect position to explain how Nigerians came to love Giga Bread.
The European merchants, they are coming to the coastal areas, particularly Lagos, Calabar, Port Harcourt, etc. So that when they came with remnants of loaves of bread from the crew, from the Navy crew, from the ship. And when they came out, they brought some certain remnants out of the ship. And that is the beginning of tasting or having much knowledge about bread in Nigeria.
The bright sunshine of Nigeria makes me to believe that all over the world there's no place like Africa. For Nigeria is my home.
Another widely consumed food in Nigeria is yam. It's a versatile food that can be eaten fried, roasted, boiled, pounded, or grinded into flour and used to make a dish called Amala. In southwest Nigeria, Amala and Ewedu soup has been watering mouths for centuries. To Nigeria's Yoruba-speaking tribes, Amala and Ewedu isn't just black dough and a slimy soup. It's a mark of their identity.
The food I like very much is Amala, to be honest, because there's a special feeling when I'm making Amala anyway, so it is just part of me. If you wake me up now that I should come and make Amala, I'll just, yeah, let's do it.
As Ewedu is to the southwest, is bitter leaf soup or onubu to the southeast. We have now trailed the scent of the local Igbo delicacy to Oraku, a village in Anambra State. Many people here grew up watching their parents plant and sell bitter leaves to earn a living, and today they do the same for their own families. Stanley is a bitter leaf farmer. He cultivates this 8 plot of land And once it matures, he harvests it, soaks it, and takes it to the river where workers process the leaves the traditional way by squeezing hard to remove the bitter taste, a process that may last for hours.
This our business. This bitter leaf, we don't have season. It's not seasonal. It's only that during this, as we are in rainy season now, during this rainy season, the work is lesser. The work is lesser because you don't have to irrigate the farm, you don't have to water the farm. Rain fall constantly. But what makes it different from the dry season is that during the dry season, you use your water pump, you use our pumping machine, yes, to pump water in the farm. But the work during that dry season, it pays more than this rainy season because that is when you get the fruit of your labor. All that we labor during this rainy season is during the dry season that you get your money back.
Bitter leaf soup is not only eaten as a delicacy among the Igbo-speaking tribes in Nigeria. Its extracts are also used to manufacture medicines, and the leaves are in high demand in international markets. Stanley says he exports as much as 100 buckets of bitter leaves per day to clients in the diaspora and can hardly keep up with the demand. Local dishes across Nigeria vary from region to region, with egusi, ogbono, owo, banga, edikaikong, afang, ewedu, oha, and bitter leaf soups being among the most popular. They are usually eaten with swallow, a local slang for the dough made usually of cassava or yam. 24 of Nigeria's 36 states cultivate cassava, making her the world's largest producer of the crop. And we have now come to Masaka in Nasarawa State to visit the market famed for its abundant supply of yams and cassavas.
I use my cassava to produce akpu. This fufu. It's only Akwa Ibom people call it fufu, but many people call it akpu. So they use it to produce gari and abacha, and so on and so forth.
Every Thursday, cassava processors like Ike converge at Masaka Market to buy cassava off farmers. He owns a small gari processing factory where workers peel, wash, soak, and grind the cassava into a mash. The mash is then pressed hard to remove the raw starch, after which it's then sieved before the frying begins. The laborious process usually involves at least 10 persons working together to get the end product. But with a large market of gari eaters in the country, demand always outweighs supply.
No amount of gari you take to the market that you won't sell, because it's a food where the rich and the poor eat. You understand? But the challenge we are having is moving them to where the consumers are.
Just like bitter leaf, cassava is a multi-purpose crop. Every part of the plant, from the roots to the leaves, has both food and medicinal uses.
We can get animal meal from cassava, we can get starch from cassava, we can get chemical from cassava, we can as well get food from cassava, we can as well get manure from cassava. Now, if older youth can work the way I'm doing now, I believe in the next few years to come, we'll be looking at the oil sector or the government, we won't be looking at those areas. We'll look straight on gari business, because gari business can give us what we want.
Nigeria's strongest resource isn't in her oil or agriculture. Her economic strength is in her people, the entrepreneurs that keep the system running. One of them is Bayo Adedeji. Bayo has been serving hot, sweet-tasting snacks to Nigerians since 2016. He owns yam plantations and employs over 30 staff at his street food business. His leverage is yam, one of Nigeria's most abundant staple foods.
We have taken street vending. We've taken street vending and taken it to a new level, right? Where we've made it more modernized. We've made it clean. You can look at my staff behind. You know, they're well dressed, they're properly trained, they wash their hands before they touch the food. But basically, we are able to keep street pricing, right, for more hygienic food, and we deliver. Our bikes are going to show up here now. So our customer service team is taking orders right now, you know, and that's what all our locations do, and that's how we drive the business.
Bayo embodies the Nigerian character of hard work, resilience, and entrepreneurship. With an MBA in finance, he took off with his own business, first as a shoe retailer and then as a street food vendor in 2016.
Instead of you just importing stuff, we take our own local fried yam, we grow it, we transport it, we improve it, we sell it, we distribute it, and within one economy. And now we're about to export it. That right there is an economic value chain that Nigeria needs to revitalize its own economy. And that's what we're doing. And creating employment, and creating empowerment, and creating, you know, a business opportunity. A person that owns our location is hugely successful. Somebody was telling me, I'm about to quit my job and do this full time. That is amazing.
With our bellies full from tasting local dishes across Nigeria, we set out to fill our eyes with the wonders of African art. Since pre-colonial times, Nigerians have been expressing their culture through sculpture, brass and bronze casting, and woodwork. The skill with which Nigerians worked wood into multidimensional objects fascinated foreigners so much that they stole thousands of art pieces from ancient Benin, most of which are currently in the British Museum. Foreigners might have stolen prized artworks from Nigeria, but what they couldn't steal was the essence of her art, which has been passed on many generations to modern-day sculptors like Anthony Olofin.
Our culture cannot die, and that is why I'm promoting Nigerian culture and I'm promoting African culture work, because it's an unending generation. So whatever you see in our work, we are training people so that if we are no more, they are still alive to continue. It's a continuity of the job, which we collected from our forefathers. Today we are still there, and we are training people too. Tomorrow they will still be there. So it's on an ending generation. So we promote our Nigerian culture, African culture so well, both home and abroad.
At Anthony's workshop, you'll find figurines depicting everyday life, traditional gods and deities, royal figures, and animals. Through delicate carvings and painstaking work, Olofin portrays the Nigerian identity on wood and aims to restore pride in Nigerian arts. But even his best efforts are yet to pay off.
Foreigners respect our culture than we in Nigeria. And I believe if our government should be able to focus on this thing, I'm telling you, there's money on this thing than the cool oil they are talking about. There's money on this thing than the agriculture they are talking about. Because it's an international work. This thing I'm doing, this thing you see here now, we have some white people, they will come with their container. Are they not benefiting from it by the time they are shifting this thing to their country? But I can do all these things 10 sets. You won't see Nigeria to participate, to come over and buy. But you see all these white people fighting themselves, I will pick this one, loading in on their container. How many kings you get to their house and find this kind of a share? They will start going to foreign. You can imagine, they will go into foreign and buying gold share. How many senators have kind of share in their house? We have furnishers carving shares. How many of them promote it? If you go to the presidency, you will see all those foreign shares there. So they don't think that it has value. And we are a giant of Africa. On this artwork, the sculpture, we are still the best. And that is why the white people respect this work. So I'm appealing to Nigeria, let us promote our culture. I'm appealing to the government, let us promote our culture.
Why then do Nigerians seem to trivialize her art, while foreigners will pay any price to get it? I caught up with art connoisseur Sharon Okafor for answers.
A prophet is not appreciated in his own hometown, like they say, because we see it all around us, everywhere. we don't appreciate them because they're everywhere. But when someone comes into our country, like a foreigner comes in, it's strange to them, it's new to them, so they appreciate it. It's just normal. So we have to project it, and for prosperity's sake, you know, for people coming, you know, after us, we have to try to start appreciating it so that the people after us can appreciate it. We have to do something about it to make us more aware of the beauty of our culture.
Another ancient but thriving artistry in Nigeria is cane weaving. Welcome to the workshop of Donald Kane, a popular cane craftsman in Abuja. For over 10 years now, Donald has been weaving cane into chairs, tables, baskets, flower pots, you name it. His bare hands are his working tool. He carefully weaves cane into patterns to create a beautiful work of art, something he says he's proud of.
This is our background, and this is what we do for a living. Our forefather, they did not sew it out like other Africans did. So we will not do the same thing. We have to hold our rights because this is what they taught us before they're gone. So if we hold our rights, we use it to grow our own children.
Donald's colleague shares the same view. He's more pleased with the fact that materials required for the job are sourced locally, especially from Edo and Delta states.
This one is natural. This one then they go say they go bring out. Now only we dey do it by ourselves. They bring out for this our bush. But for this our bush one we get here. Now we dey get out for this one I be the thing when grow up for this our source. For the material grow up here, we need to go buy it for market and for bush they go buy it. That's why make us say this Africa. That's why we prefer to do this one. Because it's different, all those furniture, all those things. But this one is natural. But this is Africa based. I too like this work because this work they give me joy because I do I enjoy it because the way I do I just be like say me I be the Africa. That's why me I like the work because it's Africa, it's Africa. Yeah, if you do it, you gonna say yeah this one is really cultural something that you do. So you say you go admire them.
Like sculpture, furniture made of cane is in high demand for export. But despite its cultural and economic value, its market potential has not been fully explored.
Those are Africans, they don't use this one. Even in the village, if you go to the village, even the royal chief, most of them don't use this one in their palace. They prefer the king palace. You put upholstery because the first king we have, he said the pride of Africa. So the people that need it, like the Oyibos, they use it in their beach. You understand? And they use it in their tourist center, in their museum. It's a challenge. Why? It's a challenge for the new minister or for the new agricultural minister or for the new science minister to develop those ideas and for the government to know that these things, if you don't need them, then you sell it out. If you know you cannot use them, don't let them useless here. You give people that want it so that I can make use of it because the world we are, there's no idea is waste.
Modernization seems to be a big influence on how Nigerians perceive what is truly ours. And that's why Buinuyo is working hard to improve appreciation for the textile art called Adire or tie and dye.
I look at everybody and what they wear and we've been using too much of Western culture kind of dressing and all those things. So I'm like, why can't we bring our own fabrics, our own idea, our own African art and put it into what they do over there and make it look like what they do there. And even when they see, they will be eager to like, I think we love what these people do. We should try something new.
The people of Yoruba land began designing fabrics by tying it and dyeing it with indigo, a natural dye extracted from the leaves of plants. The dyes used these days are imported chemicals, but the art remains indigenously Nigerian. Buinuyo was excited to explain the process of creating an Adire design.
Now, after getting the fabric, depending on the kind of technique I want to use, because the chemicals we use soda, we use sulfites, then varieties of vet dye, depending on the kind of color we want to use. Then we use twine to create the dye resist, that is the time. We use twine to tie. We don't use twine, we use raffia. Then another kind of technique we use is batik, that is the use of candle wax to create a kind of pattern on the fabric. So whatever pattern we draw on the fabric, by the time we are dipping it into the dye, those places where we have the pattern, the dye would not pass through those places. So by the time we finish dyeing and we de-wax the fabric, the pattern is going to show. After we finish that, we rinse. After rinsing off, we rinse the first time and the second time. Then when you are sure that the dye is off the fabric, you wash with soap. And I iron, then I package it, then I deliver.
Beauty, they say, speaks for itself. That's why the art of tie and dye has been exported beyond the shores of Nigeria. And to date, Adire remains a vibrant part of the Nigerian culture. Laborers break down rocks to be used for construction. Don't look closer, open your eyes. This is Katampe Hills in Abuja, the geographical center of Nigeria as calculated by engineering company Setraco Nigeria Limited. Locals tell me the hills was formed by volcanic activity many centuries ago, and in 1999, then military governor Ibrahim Babangida officially commissioned it as the epicenter of Nigeria. But there is nothing here to prove its significance except this rusted iron plate on the hill. In fact, rather than being regarded as a tourist center, Katampe Hills is slowly being chipped away.
When you don't know the value of what you have, they say that abuse is inevitable. So to them, this is just rocks and a means to an end. So they can break these rocks, use it for buildings and all of that. What we should be advocating for is the preservation of some of these sites. You understand? They don't know any better. They are just doing work and they are being paid for it. You understand? Because to them, this is just rocks. I feel that if they are being sensitized and the awareness is created and people know that this is a tourist site. In all other parts of the world, most of these tourist sites are preserved. You understand? So hopefully we can, get to that point where we can create some sort of security and some sort of preservative measures for the tourist sites that we have.
Perhaps the first challenge Nigeria faces with tourism is little or no information about our tourist sites. Henry Orji has been taking pictures here for about 4 years now, but he didn't know that he's been shooting at the center of Nigeria all the while until we told him. And because of this ignorance of what we have, Nigerians contribute billions of dollars to the economies of other countries in search for tourist attractions, thus undervaluing our own tourism potential and hurting the economy.
Look at Dubai. Everybody is wanting or clamoring to go to Dubai. And Dubai just have oil, but then invested in tourism. Dubai don't even have these natural monuments that we have. Most of their tourism are artificial. You go to Dubai and they take you to desert. Then you go and play with sand. I don't understand. Why in Yobe here we have those things? We have those sand there. I don't understand. See, Nigeria is losing a lot. And I tell you, the moment we start opening our eyes to the tourism potentials in Nigeria, that time we'll start investing in our youths. That time we'll start investing in Nigeria.
Stakeholders have repeatedly called on the government to promote Katampe Hills to befitting standards. But the call seems to be falling on deaf ears, despite its money-spinning potential.
If I say to you now that there is a restaurant at the center of Nigeria, everybody would like to go to that restaurant. Imagine they built a restaurant here, or they created some little chalets around here just so that when foreigners come in, there are other things other than just, because I feel like if you just climb there, the only thing that you see is the view, really. But that's all. It's not like the view is the greatest view in the world. But I feel like there's so many things that the government can put in place. Like I said, restaurants, maybe hotels, maybe playgrounds, whatever it is, just to beautify the places, and also somehow pump some of our resources in terms of finances into these tourist places. We definitely, maybe not now, but in the nearest future, we will be reaping from it.
Tourism has the potential to involve everybody because the tourism market is big. It covers food, it covers transportation, it covers everything, security. Even cameramen would do a lot of things, craftsmen. Tourism is big. It's big. It can employ. See, Nigeria alone can run on tourism and everybody will be happy.
Since Nigeria has so much economic potential, why are her people poor? Since pre-colonial Nigeria had successful empires and kingdoms, why is her government below par? Since her history is so great, why aren't her people proud of her present? The answer is so simple that Nigerians echo it with one voice.
Our leaders.
Selfishness.
The leaders. Our government.
Corruption.
Lack of employment.
Here, the popular belief is that government officials extort the masses and serve their own interests rather than the public's. This high level of corruption is probably the greatest challenge of the country. And only when her public servants abide by the true essence of service and Nigerians become awake to their obligations will Nigeria become a better country for us all.